Section 1. Religion and cultism, a necessary distinction. Many people struggle to differentiate religion from cultism. This confusion is understandable, as both involve belief systems and social structures. However, it is crucial to understand the fundamental differences between the two for the sake of mental well-being and ethical community practices. While religions generally promote love, compassion, and ethical behavior, cults often employ manipulative tactics that can severely impact mental health. This essay aims to shed light on these differences, providing insights into the dangers of cultism and how to recognize harmful patterns. The core distinction lies in the methods used to influence members. Religions, in their healthy forms, encourage critical thinking, personal growth, and spiritual exploration. Cults, on the other hand, employ mind control techniques to indoctrinate and exploit their members. These techniques can range from subtle manipulation to outright coercion, often leading to emotional dependence and psychological distress. Understanding these tactics is essential to protect individuals from falling prey to harmful groups and promoting ethical community practices. One of the most common misconceptions is that cults are always religious in nature. While many cults do have a religious or spiritual facade, this is not a defining characteristic. Cults can exist within any social structure, including political organizations, self-help groups, and even businesses. The defining factor is the use of manipulative tactics to control members and exploit them for the leader's benefit. This exploitation can take various forms, including financial gain, sexual abuse, or simply the gratification of the leader's ego. Recognizing the difference between religion and cultism is not about condemning any specific belief system. It's about understanding the dynamics of power and control within groups and their potential impact on individual well-being. By being aware of the dangers of cultism, we can better protect ourselves and our loved ones from falling victim to these harmful organizations. This awareness is paramount in fostering ethical community practices and promoting mental health for all. Section 2. Transparency versus secrecy, a defining characteristic. Transparency is a cornerstone of healthy religious institutions. Religious organizations typically operate openly, with clear doctrines, publicly available information about their leaders, and financial transparency. They welcome scrutiny and encourage dialogue, fostering trust and accountability within their communities. This openness stands in stark contrast to the secretive nature of cults. Cults thrive on secrecy, concealing their true intentions and inner workings from outsiders, and often even from lower-ranking members. Information is tightly controlled, and questioning or dissent is often met with punishment or expulsion. This culture of secrecy creates an environment of fear and suspicion, preventing members from critically evaluating the group's teachings and practices. It also shields the leader from accountability, allowing them to operate with impunity. This secrecy extends to the recruitment process. Cults often lure individuals with promises of self-improvement, spiritual enlightenment, or community belonging, while concealing their true agenda. Once a person is drawn in, they are gradually isolated from their support network and subjected to intensive indoctrination. This isolation makes it difficult for them to seek outside help or perspectives, further solidifying the cult's control. The lack of transparency in cults serves several purposes. It allows the leader to maintain an aura of mystery and authority, making it harder for members to question their teachings. It also protects the cult from scrutiny by external authorities and prevents former members from exposing their harmful practices. By understanding the importance of transparency, individuals can better discern between healthy religious organizations and potentially dangerous cults. Section 3. Integration versus isolation, societal interactions. Healthy religious groups often play an integral role in the wider community. They engage in charitable work, promote social justice, and provide support to their members and those in need. They encourage members to maintain healthy relationships outside the group and contribute positively to society. This integration fosters a sense of belonging and purpose, enriching both the individual and the community. Cults, in contrast, often isolate their members from the outside world. Contact with family and friends is discouraged or even forbidden, and members are taught to view outsiders with suspicion or hostility. This isolation serves to create a closed system where the cult leader's ideology reigns supreme, free from external challenges or influences. This isolation has profound psychological effects. It cuts members off from their support network, making them entirely dependent on the cult for emotional and social needs. It also limits their access to alternative viewpoints, reinforcing the cult's ideology as the sole source of truth. This creates a fertile ground for manipulation and control as members become increasingly reliant on the cult leader for guidance and validation. Moreover, cults often instill a sense of us versus them mentality, portraying the outside world as dangerous or corrupt. This fosters paranoia and fear, further discouraging members from seeking outside help or questioning the cult's teachings. The isolation imposed by cults is a key factor in their ability to maintain control and exploit their members. Section 4. Psychological Impacts, the Mental Toll of Cultism. While religious faith can provide comfort, guidance, and a sense of community, involvement in cults often leads to significant psychological harm. The manipulative tactics employed by cult leaders can have devastating effects on members' mental and emotional well-being, leaving lasting scars long after they leave the group. One of the most common psychological impacts of cultism is the development of cognitive dissonance. This occurs when members are forced to hold conflicting beliefs or engage in behaviors that contradict their values. The cult leader may demand absolute obedience, even if it means acting against one's conscience. To cope with this internal conflict, members may engage in denial, rationalization, or other defense mechanisms, further distorting their perception of reality. Cults also often employ techniques that induce fear, guilt, and shame to control their members. Individuals may be subjected to public humiliation, threats of punishment, or manipulation of their deepest fears. This constant state of anxiety and emotional distress can lead to depression, anxiety disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other mental health issues. Moreover, the isolation and control exerted by cults can severely impair members' sense of self and autonomy. Individuals may lose their ability to think critically, make independent decisions, or even recognize their own needs and desires. They become entirely dependent on the cult leader for validation and direction, losing their sense of agency and individuality. Section 5. Ethical Leadership, a Key Differentiator. Ethical leadership is fundamental to healthy religious organizations. Religious leaders are expected to act with integrity, compassion, and accountability. They prioritize the well-being of their followers and guide them towards spiritual growth and ethical living. This ethical framework fosters trust and respect within the community, creating a safe and supportive environment for its members. In stark contrast, cult leaders prioritize their own power and self-interest above the well-being of their followers. They exploit their members for financial gain, sexual gratification, or simply to feed their own ego. This exploitative behavior is often masked by a charismatic persona and grandiose promises, making it difficult for members to recognize the true nature of the leader's motives. Cult leaders often demand absolute obedience and loyalty, discouraging critical thinking or dissent. They may use fear, guilt, and manipulation to enforce their authority and maintain control over their followers. This creates an environment of fear and repression, where members are afraid to speak out against the leader's actions even when they recognize them as harmful. Furthermore, cult leaders often lack accountability. They operate in secrecy, shielding themselves from scrutiny by external authorities or even from questioning by their own followers. This lack of transparency allows them to continue their exploitative practices with impunity, further endangering the well-being of their members. Recognizing the importance of ethical leadership is key to differentiating healthy religious organizations from potentially harmful cults.